First tip, always be looking for opportunities. Okay, never get too comfortable. Okay.
Oh, man. Hello and welcome to the first ever episode in English of the NextUpgrade podcast. I am Robert Brezoaie, your host, and today I have a very nice guest with me that I'm really eager to speak about. But first, let me tell you a little bit of our sponsors. So we have Tab NGO, who is the organization behind all of this project. We have our main sponsor, Punctul IT, who's doing courses for kids in tech. And also we have the Centrul Cultural Alexandru Marghiloman, who is gracious enough as an entity to give us this amazing space that we have here. And my amazing guest today is Ian Foster. Hello, Ian.
Hello, Robert.
I'm really happy that you managed to come all the way from Northern Ireland, especially for this specific podcast.
Yes, it's been quite a journey, but I've made it. It's just good to be here with you this evening.
Yeah. Okay, this is actually a joke. I haven't been here only for this podcast, but it would have been actually quite nice if you would made a trip only for that. You are visiting Romania in your holiday right now.
That's right, yes.
And we've met many years ago.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, about your professional history so far, and what have you been doing in the last, let's say, 5 years, right?
Okay. Well, I'm from Belfast, Northern Ireland. I grew up there, and my first job in Belfast, believe it or not, was fixing televisions.
Oh, okay.
Now, when I say fixing televisions, Robert, you're probably thinking of something quite technical. In those days, we need to think about glass valves.
Oh, okay.
We need to think about, as our American friends would say, tubes.
Okay, tubes, yeah. I haven't seen one of those televisions in quite a while now, but I have a passion for them. They look really interesting.
The technology was something else. A little bit like the NASA idea of putting a man on the moon in 1969. We look now and say, how on earth did they do that? And I think televisions were a little bit like that then. How on earth did they make all this work?
Yeah.
And that was my first job. I learned a lot of skills at that. And you learn to use oscilloscopes, multimeters, you learn about voltages, you learn all the formulas that you need, Ohm's law, read circuit diagrams. And those skills are transferable. Yeah, so although you may be working something niche, those skills that you've got are transferable skills. And I found that after a little while, I was getting a little boxed in. And I thought, let's expand, let's do something else. And I looked for another opportunity. First tip, always be looking for opportunities. Okay, never get too comfortable.
Oh,
okay.
Man. Okay. I'll
Always something else.
Yeah.
Because as you become good at something, it becomes easy. And easy isn't learning.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to be learning, doing something else. And I found a new area that I wanted to work in, and that was therapeutic X-ray.
Okay.
Do you know about that?
I pretty much don't know anything about the existence of it, but I know that it exists. I don't know. I know what it does, but I have never looked from a technical point of view.
Okay. It's in the medical field.
Yeah.
And it's where X-ray technology is used for therapeutic reasons, for treating diseases.
Also for treating, not for screening and stuff like that. Okay.
No, for treating, generally cancer.
Okay.
And the idea with a tumor cell, is if you impact it with radiation, it dies and grows back good rather than bad. And that was the area that I wanted to work in because the technology in that carried on from a television, because it's not a massive jump between a cathode ray tube, which it was in those days, and an X-ray tube.
Okay.
Similar technologies, but there was a lot more to it, because there was X-ray, there was radioactive cobalt, and most interestingly, a linear accelerator where I worked as well.
Actually, the last one seems pretty interesting, with the accelerator and everything. So tell me about that a little bit.
Well, to tell you about the accelerator, I'll tell you first about the Cobalt 60, the therapeutic X-ray machines. And what they done was they had a piece of cobalt inside them, the size of a coin. And that coin would stay inside a safe in that, a large lead safe. and the lead safe would then open with jaws to make a particular beam that could be aimed at the tumour. The period would go for maybe a few minutes of treatment where the patient is exposed to that. Then the jaws would close, and then we'd be safe again. And during that time, there'd be an amount of radiation applied to the patient, applied to the tumour, and that would be hopefully good for the patient.
And this is pretty much, all those meme on the internet when it says like the doctor tells you, don't worry, this is safe, and then the doctor runs out of the room and like hides from the radiation part.
Let me say that when you're working with cobalt-60,
Yeah.
which is the isotope of cobalt that they use for treatment, there hasn't been an antiperspirant invented yet that helps with the sweat when you're working with that. Okay, the nearest safe distance to an exposed source for public is about 5 kilometers.
Oh wow!
Okay, so it's hot stuff. I mean, literally hot. You can feel the heat of the safe.
But you were working with these things.
Yes, I'm still here. Yeah,
Yeah. I guess.
I was working with them carefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Several things you can do to protect yourself from radiation. One is wear shielding, okay? So a lead coat would be really good, except that the lead coat for this level of radiation would be 15 centimeters thick, okay? And a 15 centimeter jacket is very hard to move into.
Oh, especially if it's lead. Yeah.
That is one thing you can do as protection. Another thing is distance, okay? So you can work at as far away from it as you can, but a 5 kilometer screwdriver is very difficult to use.
Pretty hard to, yeah.
And so the other thing that's really good is time. Reduce the amount of time that you're in front of it. So you don't stand in front of the machine with your circuit diagrams out thinking, what do I do?
Yeah.
You do that in a safe place and then go and do it and then come out. So,
But you had back then some sort of robotics that would go into it, or
No.
like to actually interact with it?
no, people were much cheaper then.
Okay.
And
It was
more expendable.
It was easier just to have people.
There was no robotics. We're talking. I was doing this in the 80s.
Okay.
Okay, and there was no useful robotics for that, so it had to be done manually.
But I know that I think maybe these jobs that you had in the beginning, or like your personality overall, kind of led you to be super passionate about technology all your life. So
yes, absolutely.
you got to work even with the medical stuff that was quite simple back then, and then you got to work with super advanced systems very recently.
Well, I moved to the linear accelerators at that point, and what they do is they accelerate electrons down a tube. They strike a tungsten target and produce X-ray. The nice thing with that, unlike the cobalt units, you can actually switch a linear accelerator off and there's no radiation.
Yeah.
With the cobalt units, the radiation's always
It's
there.
like a source there, yeah. So it's not produced by the electrons. Yeah.
But yes, well, I looked around at what I wanted to do next, and there was these new things coming. I don't know if you've heard about them here. They're called computers.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I'm even wearing one. Yeah.
You have heard of them. I built my first computer in 1981. Okay. And believe it or not, that was a Sinclair ZX81, which, have you ever heard of that? No?
Sadly, I'm more into. I've started knowing things after Pentium 2, so I've I have quite a bit of a blind gap towards it. And the listeners, I think they have even a bigger gap.
They'll have a bigger gap whenever I say there wasn't a graphical user interface. Okay.
Yeah, that would be
If that gives
difficult.
you- and everything was on a little keyboard and it was all command line. And that's when I started getting into computers. But when I was working in the medical field, I was measuring risk against reward, okay? And it was quite a dodgy thing to be working with.
Yeah.
And I wasn't getting paid very well.
If you're being exposed to radiation every day,
So
might as
I
well
thought-
get some money for it. But
Yeah. Let's say something a bit different. And I got an opportunity working on computers. Now, the computers that I was working on in the late 80s, early 90s were not desktop. They were large mainframes. Really nice on a warm day. You could stand in the computer room and cool off very, very nicely as you worked on them. But they were great to work on. There was a great deal of expertise. There was a great deal of specialization. There was a great deal of skill in it. And the numbers that we talk about in computers today weren't even dreamt about back then.
Give me an example of these kind of numbers, like processing power, or I don't know, RAM, or
disk size. Okay.
Yeah, disk size. Yeah.
If you imagine an automatic washing machine.
Okay.
If you imagine two of them bolted together. One day I was watching 6 guys carry this up the stairs. 300 megabytes.
Oh, wow. So 300 megabytes was
not gigabytes, not terabytes.
Yeah.
Megabytes.
So the size of 2 washing machines,
Two washing machines, yes.
So if 3 guys were carrying them, it was
6 guys carrying.
Six guys
carrying.
Okay.
It was big, yeah. And you would spend maybe a full day once every couple of months servicing that disk, taking it to bits, taking out the pack, cleaning all the heads. It was interesting stuff to do.
It's pretty cool. And even if you compare it to what we have today, even in these cameras that are filming right now, we have SD cards that are not the best of the best or whatever, but they're still this size, right? So
absolutely. To put it in context, that big drive, the 300 megabyte drive that 6 people were carrying, I could have thousands of those in my pocket now. Yeah. And that's... Yeah, it's just amazing what has happened.
So tell me more about your next job. What happened after you started working with computers, and how things evolved in your professional life.
In my professional life, I actually started doing very well. I had a mentor within the job. He was another engineer, a little bit older than me, more experienced. And he took time. He showed me, he taught me, whatever. And I grew into the job very well. But when I was engineering, the customers started to like what we as a company were doing. And they would say, we'd like to buy our next computer system off you. But we didn't sell computer systems. We fixed computer systems. So because of demand, we actually started selling them.
Were you building them also, or were you just reselling them?
Reselling them.
Okay.
You would specify them. You would configure them, you would install them, do all the sales stuff with it.
I actually have a personal question with this one. What about the financial way of doing things back then? Was it a lot like a subscription way in terms of the companies that were working with you? They were like, you were charging them regularly on, or we are going to administer this, or were you going to fix it whenever it was breaking and then you would charge for it?
Well, that's a very interesting question because what we always had was service contracts. Okay. And the idea is if you've got a service contract, you've got a revenue stream. If you've got a revenue stream, you can build your business because you can employ somebody or not employ them. You can look at the size of what's happening and grow your business towards that. If you're just getting a job here, a job there, you don't know what's happening tomorrow.
Yeah, fair enough.
Very, very hard to put a business on. So we would put a lot of pressure on customers to have a contract, and that was for our benefit, but equally for their benefit.
Yeah, fair enough.
If they knew what to be paying every year, that was easy. If you're trying to extract budget from a company who hadn't planned on a breakdown, then that becomes difficult for them, which makes it difficult for us as well. So really always you would work for a contract. One of the ways you would do that is if a customer didn't have a contract, and they had a breakdown, they'd have to have a pre-contract inspection before we would take it on. So there'd be a charge for the pre-contract inspection, a charge for the repair, and then a charge for going on to an annual support product for that. And again, remember, these were not desktop devices.
Yeah, they were like these proper industrial, I would say, computers, right? Like
proper industrial computers. And they were very limited on who could fix them effectively.
Yeah.
The answer was me.
Pretty much, yeah.
and
nice.
And that was it. Yeah.
It's a good job to have, to be the part of the very least people that can
yes
that can do it. So
yes, there's pros and cons for being in a niche market. If you're in a niche market, you don't have a lot of options of where you go, and you don't have a lot of options for customers. But on the other hand, those that need you really need you. and they have to be nice to you.
So it was pretty much an amazing thing that you had somebody who can introduce you to these kind of things. So you had basically, as you said, a mentor that was an engineer that was more, experienced than you, who pretty much took you under his wing, pretty much. And tell me about that experience.
I think finding a mentor is a two-sided thing. They have to want to work with you, and you have to want to work with them. Yeah. When you're looking for a mentor, which I was, you looked for somebody who, first of all, was good.
Yeah.
There was no point in looking at the company idiot. You wanted to go to the top, somebody who was good at what they were doing, and somebody who wanted to share what they were doing, and were willing to talk about it, willing to spend time with you. And some people have it, and some people don't have it.
Yeah.
And I think that there is a character about a mentor who's willing to take the time and explain what they're doing. Also, interestingly, a mentor can only explain what he's doing if he knows what he's doing.
Pretty much, yeah.
So you very quickly weed out the idiots that are just
yeah.
going and getting through.
Yeah.
The mentor really knows what he's doing. He's prepared to talk about it, and he can explain it. Yeah.
So what would be in your experience or your definition the difference between a mentor and a teacher?
I think a mentor, there's a personal level at it. I think very often teachers come in, at one extreme, they come in and lecture. Yeah. They tell you the facts and then check, do you know it? Yeah. And that's it. A mentor will come alongside you, and they will let you try, and they'll be beside you. And if it's not working out, and very often it was against the clock.
Because you had the job to do pretty much together.
For example, the mainframe, you have to remember the mainframe, if a mainframe failed, there was maybe 40 people sitting doing nothing.
Yeah.
So it was getting going now. Not soon.
They were losing money because you were learning pretty much.
Soon wasn't quick enough. It was now was the answer. And your mentor would find time in that to show you what he was doing or give you a task, and also afterwards would talk through what had happened and how we resolved the problem.
So this is, I would say, one type of mentor that you had, and this is pretty much your definition of maybe the first one or like one of the mentors that you had. Yeah. But I would like to also share a little bit about my experience, because it's actually why you are here today, pretty much. It's because I think, I don't know if you wanted to or if you didn't want to, but in a sense, you actually became my mentor in a sense, because you encouraged me to do something that I didn't know I was capable, right? I don't know if you remember what was, I think, maybe the most important gift you ever gifted me when I was in, I think I was 14 years old or something like that.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Nice, because I can tell it now.
Okay, you tell the story.
So the story is, it was my birthday. We were friends with my family and everything, and you gifted me a domain name. You remember it now, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, you gifted me for my birthday a domain name, which maybe many people will be like, that's not really fun, a birthday gift. But for me, it was an amazing birthday gift because I got to have my brezoaie.com, which is actually still in use today. So, people can check it. I don't have much information there right now, but it was my first interaction pretty much with domains, how to host them, how to see what, DNS is, what a server is, how to host it, because I think you only got me. Oh no, you got me the whole package, but it wasn't connected. I had to do something pretty much to make it work. Probably I got other gifts before that, but this one's the first
in your
one.
Mind.
Yeah, because it was really important to me, and I knew I got excited at first. I didn't use it maybe for half a year, but then I started to be like, hey, what is this? How can I host something on it? How can I publish a website? How can I make things work? And I think this is a different type of mentor pretty much that kind of gives you a little bit of nudge every once in a while and has like, hey, you should try this thing.
A bit of stretch.
Yeah.
I think that probably the two things you were thinking about is the domain hosting and the domain name. And you had to bring those together.
Yes, and that fact itself, bringing them together, gives you a lot of information about how to do things. And I've even used some of that knowledge that I've learned when I was 14. So it's a pretty while ago, 16 years ago. I almost 17 years ago, so I'm getting older, right? And I used them like yesterday. I used that information because I had to change some domain names for some websites that I'm hosting and something. I was like, I've learned this quite a while back, and I've learned it because of my mentor in. So that was...
It's interesting that you mentioned your birthday because we're twins.
Yeah, exactly. We are birthday twins. So I'm actually sorry I didn't get you anything that birthday. So
well, I have to say, that birthday, it was very easy for me because you live in Romania and I live in...
Yeah.
So I could do that by email, and that was it. Yeah.
And I would also like to go even further and tell you this because I think, mostly because it is also important to me personally, it goes in the same kind of direction. I think at some point when we were meeting or we were talking about things, we were like, hey, try to see what's behind this domain hosting. Mm-hmm. And at first I was like, I don't know, it seems a bit complicated. But then in the end, I got into it. And and also not only that you were my first mentor kind of, but you were also my first, let's say, investor, right? Do you remember this? I think you still have a little share in my company.
Happy days.
We'll have to talk about it afterwards. But let me tell everybody this story. It was about having an account that can make little hosting accounts, right? To sell the domains and sell the hosting accounts. And you told me, hey, look into this. And I looked into it and I had to buy a package that I went to my dad and was like, hey, can I have, I don't know how much was it? I think it was back then maybe like 60, 70 or 80 pounds, I would say.
Could be.
I don't know. It was a relevant amount, I would say. And my dad was like, I can give you partially. You have to raise your own.
Raise your own capital.
Yeah, raise your own capital. And I was 16 at the time, so I think I talked to you about it, and you were like, yeah, no problem. And then you invested for, I don't know, how was it? Was it like 3 or 4% of the company that was back then? And I started it. And to be honest, I do consider that to be my first business that I ever started because after a while, I started actually selling those domains and those hosting packages. It wasn't an extremely profitable business, sadly for you and your investment, but it is still actually going on today. And I still go like it's a zero sum, right? So I get to pay the big packages for all my projects because every time I get a new project, I'm like, let me just make a hosting package because I have so much access for it, right?
Yeah. But it's not just the access; it's experience and the knowledge. That's important, isn't it? And just as I was saying there earlier about picking your mentor, from a mentor, you have to pick the one you're going to mentor. Mentoring downwards. As I said, you don't look around the company saying, "I would like to be mentored by an idiot." Nor does a mentor want to mentor an idiot. Yes. So you want to see who can pick up and run with what you give them, and it's incremental.
Yeah.
Okay. When you give them a little and they can do something, you go, that kid's got something. Yeah. And you proved yourself to me again and again that there was something there.
Thank you.
And you say, there's something worth mentoring.
Yeah.
Because there's times when I've done something for people and they've made nothing of it. They haven't achieved anything. They've thought, what's that about? And I think it's a two-way thing. And there's respect both ways in mentoring is important.
I think it is also maybe a numbers game because you've probably started mentoring a number of people. Not necessarily started as in a conscious way, but still kind of happened in a sense. And then some people made something out of it. Maybe some people found different mentors that were better for them, or they just didn't pursue anything that was specifically in your area or whatever. But as you said, there are some principles pretty much in choosing a mentor. But before that, let's go a little bit into talking about in a way that like teens would understand it. Why should they actually try to get a mentor? Except from the general idea that they know, okay, this guy is more experienced than me and knows more than me. Like, what would be more reasons that they would actually actively look for a mentor and have somebody who can get them from point A to point B, right?
Well, there's a phrase that's used sometimes when people achieve something and they say, I've done it because I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. And you don't try and do everything from the base up. I think there's a great extent that what you achieve is on top of what you've learned from somebody else, and you're taking it one step further, so that you're not trying to always reinvent the wheel. You've got someone who has taken something so far or given you knowledge to a certain point, and from that knowledge point, you try and expand it further.
It is something that is really, really nice. So if we were, I think in Romania at least my generation, I don't know exactly how the new guys are, right? But everybody kind of frowns upon the guys that have money, right? Like, oh, his father gave him this investment money to do this and this and this. And basically what you're saying right now is, okay, even if you are from a poor environment, if you find yourself a good mentor, you basically can build on the knowledge of that person that can be as equally as valuable as, cash pretty much.
Oh, absolutely.
Just because you have, let's say, generational knowledge wealth in a sense of building on something and just developing on knowledge that was I would say curated by your mentor before.
One of the things that you need to remember as a young person is that there's a wealth of knowledge in some older folks. The problem with computing is things move so quickly that you think somebody who's 20 years older than me won't understand the technology that I'm working with now. And that may be true. It may not be true. They may have kept up their skills and developed their skills, and it'd be very worth listening to. But even if they're not right up to speed, the principles that they'll be showing you will be something that you can build on yourself. Most things that you do, there's certain rules that you can look at, and those rules always stand. From an engineer that always fixed things, I always asked the question, when I walked up to a piece of equipment, what is it meant to do? Is it doing it? If it's not doing it, why not? How can I make it do it? And if you ask those fundamental questions, it doesn't matter how complex
the technology, yeah.
It's those fundamental things that carry you through. And that's the sort of thing that a mentor will give you, rather than necessarily telling you push button B.
Yeah. So you don't need especially now with all the advancement that are happening, and it's moving as fast as it can actually. You need a set of principles that can sort of guide you through all this change.
It's a thought process through it all.
Yeah.
It's not the answer. It's a thought process.
And I think now, while you're saying it, I think a lot of the young people have the idea of like, I'm on top of things. I know everything now. I know all the new technologies. But I think even the older generation that has been working specifically with computers and technology and stuff like that has already been through a number of changes, like of rapid changes, or like very deep changes of technology, right? So you've started working in computers right in the 80s, and then you continued working in tech until pretty much last year, right? Uh-huh. So you have witnessed, the coming of the Web 3 or like the web era, and then you had like you saw quite many, the SaaS era, the crypto era, now is the AI era, and you have been through all these changes, and you have been in business, and you have been making money, you have been having a family that you took care of, and you had like these standards that you kept through all of these changes. So I think maybe one of the things that you and other mentors that are your age or in your generation can teach us is pretty much adaptability.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things that I always noticed was my father-in-law was a joiner. He worked with wood.
Yeah.
And when he retired, he set down the tools that he used when he was an apprentice 50 years earlier. Yeah. What had changed? Probably the price of timber had changed.
Through all that time, yeah.
And there was more use of power tools.
Yeah.
But the skills that he had learned at the very beginning stood to him his entire career. Whereas I was finding in technology, anything that I knew that was 5 years old was moving towards redundant. I noticed, for example, they stopped a long time ago ever printing manuals because it took longer to print the manual than the life of the equipment.
Yeah.
And therefore, manuals started appearing on CDs or online or whatever the relevant technology was at the time, because things were moving so fast. And when you're in the area that you're working in, one of your greatest skills is learning to adapt to change and learning to learn, because those will never go. Everything just keeps moving and moving. And when you think you've got it, it moves again. Yeah. And that is what you have to keep tracking. You can't say, well, I know how to, whatever. If I had stopped in 1978 and said, I know how a TV works, it would be irrelevant. Yeah. So in this industry, it's learning to cope with change. People don't like change. Change is a big challenge for people. And while you're 12, 13, 14, 20, change is easy because you're spending your life learning, because you have so many skills to learn, life skills. But once you start moving into middle age, you can start to get very comfortable and say, well, I know what I need to know.
Yeah.
Not in this industry, you don't. You will always having to be binning what you know and starting again, binning what you know and starting again. And that's the skill.
Yeah. How have you been able to keep up with this in terms of mental health, right? Because I'm gonna say something from my own experience and something that I've been feeling, especially since AI started, right? I even had this this conversation at a conference about AI that I've been called to speak at, and I've literally started with, I wake up every morning, I look on the internet, and I get a little bit depressed because something new has appeared, and I have no time to test it out. I have no time to be on top of it. It's like this new page that just posts on Instagram weekly posts about what AI has done in the past week, and I'm just like, I haven't even been able to catch 1/10 of what has happened in the last week. Well, and you're telling me now what is going on right now, and it feels like the term FOMO, right? Like the fear of missing out. So how do you cope with this kind of stuff, with things always changing, and how does it affect your mental health and stuff like that?
Some things come and they're gone before they've done anything. Yeah. You want to try and weed those out. So it's nice to be at the forefront of things, but be careful what you're at the forefront of. If you're at the forefront of a technology that's only going to last 2 years, don't invest too much brain in it. You want to be looking at technologies that are going to be pushing into 5, 10 years worth of useful life.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can't think of anything just off the top of my head, but I've seen so many things. Somebody once told me that 80% of most things rubbish.
Yeah.
And computing's no different. Yeah. 80% of what you see is a new trend. Whatever your feeds that you're reading on social media, and people are pushing in this direction and that direction. Be careful. 80% of it just dies.
Yeah.
It's the 20% that the smart people pick up on.
So I guess in those terms, a mentor could be really helpful, not necessarily telling you, hey, follow this thing around, but they can just tell you stories about the things that have happened when some changes in their lives happened, and they made the right decisions into following or maybe the wrong decisions. Pretty much that's as helpful as the good decisions, because you are able to learn from their experience and learn what worked, what didn't work in your specific domain. Because maybe your parents can tell you, back in my day I did this and this and this, but maybe your father is a doctor and you want to be an engineer, so it doesn't really work out. So you need somebody that has been working in your desired environment to be able to ask them also historical questions in terms of technology, and historical questions in terms of technology with computers. And it pretty much means like, last week, but
yes, that's true. Yes.
But, so yeah, I think this is, something that it is, relevant from this point of view.
Well, if you've mentioned AI, if you look at the different AI engines that they're working large language models at the minute, people become very invested in one.
What do you think about that? Which one is your favorite?
I can answer like an AI and say I don't have a favorite.
Yeah.
There's areas like that you have to be careful that you don't overinvest yourself. You need to keep a broad overview of what's happening. Everybody needs to specialize in something, but just be careful about how much you invest in that speciality until it's proven. there's all sorts of areas that you could go into. If I take my last job was in medical engineering again. I moved from computing back into medical eventually. But when you're working in medical technology, there's always going to be an interest and a need and a development in that. Other areas disappear. Education, there'll always be requirements for education. But let's say something, cryptocurrency, will there always be a need for cryptocurrency?
Yes, we'll have to see.
have to see. It's less tangible. And there's certain things that will always have a future. There's other things that may not always have a future, and you just have to be careful how you invest in those with your time, energy, and money.
And money, pretty much, because even the energy and the time, it means money if you can do something else that would be more useful in this. So. Let's get more into the idea of giving advice, for the young people that are listening, or for whoever is listening, pretty much, who is looking to get a mentor, right? Let's pretty much sum it up and give me 3 advices in terms of finding a mentor, and then we will speak about also mentoring, because why not?
Well, the first thing about your mentor is it's going to have to be someone in the area that you want to be mentored in. So you're going to have to find somebody specifically in that area. Sometimes you have to look around, decide what you want to do yourself, and then find work or whatever in that area, and find someone within that context who can mentor you in that and help you through it. So that would be the first thing. Don't give up if your first mentor doesn't produce what you think they're going to produce. Sometimes you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you get a prince, and it doesn't always work. Don't give up, and work at looking at someone who can mentor you through that. Usually as well, a mentor is somebody who you'll be very comfortable with. You won't be trying to spend your life impressing them. You'll never impress a mentor.
Oh man!
But you know what I mean when I say that. They will have something at that mentoring stage. They're the expert, and you're trying to, make their tea and brush up after them to learn what they're doing. And if there's somebody who's that good out there, don't be afraid to do menial tasks with them. To just be with them and to
be around them.
Doing.
And something that I think I would like an advice from in terms of being a mentee. What are some no-nos? For example, I think some mentors can get fatigued, right? Mm-hmm. Or you can overuse one mentor, or you can lose a mentor just because maybe you're too demanding, too intense. So how would you advise into this area, right? Because it is important to have a balance in the way you learn things and the way you ask for help and this kind of things. In my opinion, at least, I feel like it is important to kind of have a feel for how things work. What do you think about this?
Mentors are generally good at what they do, and people who are good at what they do are usually busy. So the first thing I would say is try not to waste their time. Okay, so when you go to them, it's for a genuine problem, for genuine advice, so that you can have a takeaway, know what you want to take away from that mentor on that occasion. If you see them do something extraordinary, then talk through with them. How did you get there? What did you do that I didn't see? And they're usually happy to tell you those sort of things. But be careful that you say don't overuse them, and don't always try to impress them with how much you know.
Yeah.
They'll see through that very quickly.
Exactly. Yeah, and try to pretty much, as you said, not waste their time. So basically, prepare yourself before you go into interaction with a mentor, and make sure that you ask the right questions. What I tell to some of my students that I am mentoring sometimes is like, okay, so go into ChatGPT, structure everything that you want to ask, not necessarily me, but like ask your mentor, right? And then try to see if some of the answers are obvious. Some of the answers can be just found by Googling for 2 minutes, right? And then try to put the deeper questions, try to ask the more advanced things and the things that are going to make more use of the knowledge of a person rather than the knowledge of an LLM, right?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, you're trying to break out of them.
Yeah.
What sets them apart?
Exactly,
because you want to follow on that same route. Yeah.
Basically, what we are saying now, let's imagine, we have Andrei, for example, who is looking to get a mentor. So just to summarize everything up, he needs to what, and what. I think we have 4 things that we need. I'm trying to also remember to help you out if you, because I don't remember all of the steps, but I think you will because you're a smarter man than I am. So
not for a long time.
Not for a long time. Okay, I hope you'll still be around, right? Because that was a joke, right?
I'm about still. Yeah. Well, I think first of all you have to decide what you're wanting to do.
Yeah.
There's no point in finding if you want to be really good at databases, there's no point in trying to get mentorship from a man owning a sweet shop.
Yeah, okay? Pretty much.
It has to be in the right field. You then have to start gaining some experience because you have no right really to talk to, let's take databases, a database expert. If you know nothing about it, you're not ready to talk to an expert, you're not ready to be mentored. You have to put in the hard hours yourself. I found engineering, when I was engineering, I learned best when metaphorically, my back was to the wall. I was in front of a machine.
You had to super solve this right now.
I got to get this sorted, and it's now 11 o'clock at night, and I still have no idea. And you really have to working at it. So you have to do the hard work yourself. Don't expect the mentor to just hand it to you.
Yep.
You're going to have to do the hard work. But once you've found the field and you've done the hard work, you then need to find access. How do you get access to that mentor? You can't really walk through security at the front door, go up and sit in his desk,
Yep.
How can you possibly work in the company, or how can you make contact with that mentor? Probably today online. There's maybe forums or whatever that you can contact them and say, I really appreciate what you're doing there. How did you do that? And be genuine.
Yeah. Just ask, proper genuine questions. Yeah.
And not asking him to do your work for you, but you're asking him, I don't know how to do this, but I've seen you solving this. Can you tell me?
Yeah.
And the right person will tell you. If they won't tell you, then you find they're not a mentor.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you find that they're willing to take time online or in person and explain it to you, then the chances are you have found a mentor.
This has been a very good conversation, and I myself have learned again, or I've remembered some things, and I've remembered why I've chose you as a mentor. Oh. But I think you chose me pretty much without me knowing. I just kind of.
I think we worked together, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we found each other.
We found each other, and I seen in you great potential, and but when I found that potential, I found that when I gave you a domain name, you'd done something with it. You'd done something constructive with it. You went and thought about it. You were entrepreneurial about it. That means that I have sown my seed in good ground and seen something happen. Yeah. That's encouraging for a mentor, and it makes them do it again.
Yeah, and something that is really important here, it wasn't only about the mentee kind of being good with the advice that he got, or like the gift that he got, or but it was also the mentor that pretty much invested time and money in that case to actually make something work. So I think as a person who's looking for a mentor, you can actually see that if that person also wants to be your mentor because they are doing something about it, right? Or it's not only like, let me answer for the phone for 2 minutes. But I mean, I don't know, if the CEO of Google, I guess 2 minutes on the phone with them, it's a lot of effort, right? It's a lot of stuff. So
I think that you can make contact with a lot of good people just online.
Yeah,
they like to be somebody in forums quite often, don't they? On social media and whatever, and to drop them a message and see if
I think even
they can come
Instagram or
Yeah,
even I don't know if the young people that are watching have LinkedIn or whatever, but that is also a good place.
back.
But Instagram, why not? I guess if you're not having your messages blocked in the requested part, yeah. Thank you, Ian, so much for your for your advices, for your stories and everything. And I would also like to talk with the people that are watching this right now. I hope you had a very good time watching us speak about these things. And if you want to learn more things, and if you want to get connected more with the with technology, with other people, maybe with mentors, you can join our Discord server. You can join us on social media. We have TikTok, we have Instagram. I think we will have Facebook for this season. Last season we didn't have Facebook, but we'll add it. I don't know. Your generation doesn't really use Facebook, but I'll.
A lot of people are on adding it, aren't they?
Maybe for the parents, we will have it. But for sure, Discord is right there, and you can join our Discord server. You will have it underneath this video, and also underneath this video, I will ask Ian to give me some, some links, some resources on maybe finding mentors or maybe like forums that you can actually go into and try to. I don't know. I don't know what exactly will be under the video, but it will be Ian's perspective on how to do things, either technical or in mentorship or mental health issue or whatever is going to happen there. And those resources will also be on the Discord server. We have also games and bots there, and all the people that have been interacting with this podcast so far. So please make sure to join us there and follow, subscribe, blah blah, all this kind of stuff if you want to hear more about the project that we are doing. Sadly, probably this will be maybe one of the only episodes we will do in English. So the other ones will be rather in Romanian, but we'll see how it goes and what guests we will have in the future. So thank you very much, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.